Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about the race today at New Hampshire, which was honestly pretty dang good New Hampshire race. I think the best one of the next 10 era easily so far. I think it had me in a playoff race, definitely had that intensity. So starting on stage one, Logano took the lead early, starting on pole. Ryan Blaney instantly had problems, fell back to 7th, and then Chase Elliott also was having issues himself where he fell back to 32nd right away off the jump. And then early on too in the race on lap 7, I already noticed Kyle Busch had fallen back to 35th. He was only beating Cody Ware early on. Well, Blaney had already made his way back up to 5th and was looking really strong early. And then a lot of green flag runs, a little bit of passing, not a ton. The 12 was slowly making his way up. The 5 was making his way up. 9 started clawing back. But the 5 car ended up already getting the top 10 from starting 16th. And then the 45 started reporting a brake issue, which honestly was slowly affecting him all day long. And then lap 47, the 9 finally breaking away from that slower cars, started running some quick laps, and it showed later on in the race. And then on lap 50, SVG in the top 5. He was making great speed early on before the first pit stop. And then on lap 53, the 12 finally took the lead from the 22. He'd have come from 7th to 1st, like it was nothing. Quite impressive, to be honest. And then lap 60, Barry finally got by Logano, but it was a little too late for the lead. Barry looked really strong early on. And then a couple laps later, Austin Dillon spun out Cody Ware trying to avoid getting lapped. It worked. And then this caused the 12 to almost flat spot a tire along with the 21, but they were able to continue, get pit stops, and be all good. And the first pit stops of the day were on lap 65. Everybody took 4 tires. Nobody wanted to risk taking 2 just for a one-lap shootout to go back green. And after the first stage, Blaney won the first stage. Logano went second, looked really strong. Byron quietly in third, was able to get by Barry on the restart. Hocevar, probably the best short-run car of the day, was 5th in the first stage. Larson up to 6th. SVG was a top 10 and 7th early on. Bowman was 8th. He was quiet all day. He never really got in the top 5. He ran top 10. That was about it. Reddick still in 9th at the time with his brake issues going on. And then McDowell in 10th. McDowell just quietly was in that 8th to 15th place range all day long. You didn't hear a lot about him, but he was able to keep going. Then the green flag finally back on lap 78 went green. And then almost immediately we had a caution for the 88 spinning the 21 battling hard. I thought Barry was done. I'm like, great. Again, he can't catch a dang break so far this playoff run. Lap 88, we go back green, and I noticed the 4 car on those restarts. On that jump into the outside, was able to get up to 9th. He was going sicko mode early on. And then on lap 102, Ryan Blaney had already built up a 2-second lead. He was flying when he had clean air. And then lap 110, the big moment of the race. The 11 spins Ty Gibbs, the 54, on purpose because he got sick of his teammate blocking him for outside top 10 because Ty Gibbs had been blocking him and the 20 for 11 for a good 15 laps. And Denny was done. Denny's like, all right, you want to play these games? All right, I'm just moving you. Ty Gibbs wasn't happy. Denny Hamlin wasn't happy. Didn't seem like Bill Gibbs was happy. It'll be very interesting to see how they race each other moving forward because Ty Gibbs doesn't seem like the type of person that will listen to his grandpa. He seems like he's going to take revenge. I mean, he did wreck Brandon Jones a few years ago. He didn't need to. He wrecked him on purpose to win that Martinsville race in Xfinity back in the fall of 2022. So Ty Gibbs has a history of wrecking people. So we'll see if he takes it out on his teammate. But if he does that, that's going to look really bad because Denny Hamlin's their favorite on Joe Gibbs to make it the Final Four and then possibly win the championship. 113 pit stops again, but the big moment with pit stops in the race came when the 19 takes 2 tires and takes the lead. He was able to hold off position for quite a while, and other teams started noticing that the tires weren't wearing as much as they thought they were originally. And then on 118, we go back green, and almost immediately, the 6, the 88, the 48, all trying to battle for the bottom. They were 5 wide in a 3.5 wide area, and the 6 hits the wall, wrecks the 88, the 8 gets involved, the 99 ends up flying off his wheels for a moment, the 7 ends up with a destroyed front end, and then the 20 ends up getting a little bit of damage. And he claims it affected him throughout the race, but he still was running well enough not Bell at New Hampshire levels well enough when he's used to, but he still ran pretty decent all day. And then 124, we finally went back green again. Got about a 24 lap run where the 5 took the lead from the 19. Kyle Larson leading at a track that he usually doesn't lead at. So, but only led for a few laps because the 22 came right flying by. Those Penske cars were so good through the center of the corner today that nobody could match that speed. And then on 148, the 42 just bottomed out going into turn 3 and hit the wall hard. I mean, he hit the wall a ton. I'm surprised that car was really destroyed. On 150, we get pit stops. The top 10 only take 2 tires, and everybody else on back takes 4. And the 77 and 12 were the 2 major ones that took 4. And when we go back green, the 77 jumped ahead of the 12 early on, but the 12 was able to come back ahead. And then 158, the 10 car literally sideways down the backstretch saved it. That was an excellent save for Ty Dillon. And then on lap 175, Joey Logano just held a steady 1 second lead for the last 10 laps of stage over Kyle Larson. So at the end of stage 2, on lap 185, yellow comes out with Logano winning the stage, Larson in second, Byron again in third, Blaney up to 4th, Hocevar up to 5th, Bell up to 6th, Elliott in the top 10 now up in 7th. The 11 cars in 8th, even after all that controversy. His teammate in 9th, and Barry, after being spinning out early on in the beginning of stage 2, was still able to get 10th place. So I could tell after that 21 car was going to be a problem. Then on stage, we go back green on lap 193. There were 4 wide. That was the last stage. They were getting really aggressive now. And then nothing really crazy happened. The 12 car was back up to 3rd, and then by lap 208, the 12 car was back up to 2nd. He was coming, and then by 228, the 12 car is up to the lead. Nobody could stop him. And then the 21 car got up to 3rd in that same time period, so you could tell he was coming. And then on lap 231, the 12 car started the green flag pit cycles. Everybody came down within a few laps, and then the pit cycle ended around 244, the last 2 being the 21 and the 9. And the 11 was reporting a loose wheel, but it ended up not being a problem because on lap 253, Cody Ware, being Cody Ware, thinking he could drive, broke the first rule of stock car racing: learn how to wreck someone without wrecking yourself. And he ends up knocking himself out of the race while the 3 car went away scot-free and got a top 15 from that. So 255, the last pit stops of the day for everybody but the 21 and the 9. They both stayed out. The 21 had no more tires, and the 9 was saving their set in case the yellow came out, which never ended up happening. So 259, we went back green for the last green flag run of the day. 262, the 12 car took on the lead, but he wasn't running away because the 21 was right there. He stayed on him the whole time. And the first car that actually took 4 tires from that pit cycle was at Bell, but he was up to 8, but he kind of stalled out at that point. He really couldn't do too much after that. He finishes 6th in the race. So, and then 277, like I said, Barry's there. He's there. He's right there. Blaney's reporting his car's loose. He's struggling. Barry's lap after lap after lap right there. But finally, on lap 289, Barry almost wrecked, just like the 42 going into turn 3. He got that car loose, and the tires were done after that. There was no one was catching the 12 car. So Ryan Blaney ends up dominating. Him and the 22 and 21, the whole Penske team dominated today. But in the end, out of the 3, it ended up being Ryan Blaney who won by just under a second here at New Hampshire. With the top 10 ended up being Blaney, Barry, Byron in 3rd. So Byron in 3rd. Great point save for Byron. Logano with a 4th. Logano had a good run again. He's been turning it up. Now the playoffs will be done. The 9 car got 5th. Great run considering they started 27th in that race today. The 20 was a 6. I mean, kind of disappointing for him, but once he got that damage, you knew he was kind of going to be in some trouble. The 5 car up at top 10, good run for him. Kyle Larson seems like he's just kind of just steady Eddie. He not got race winning speed, but they got top 5 to top 10 speed. Michael McDowell with an 8th. Good run for McDowell. That Spire car, both Spire cars with him and Hocevar looked really good today. Hocevar had some top 5, top 3 speed early on before adjustments and the track started changing on him. And Ross Trask staying with a top 10. That's all the first top 10 since, if I'm not mistaken, the Coke 600 back in May. And for Ross, I mean, he needed that, but it unfortunately didn't help him too much with the points. And then lastly, Briscoe was able to sneak into the top 10. So those are the major players. And then some of the notables that didn't run as well today with the playoff guys, Cindric, Reddick, and Bowman all struggled today. None of them could get a good run going at all. It just seemed like they all got stuck back there throwing issues, whether it was Bubba reporting the car tonight too tight. Cindric just didn't have the speed of his teammates, and Reddick having the brake issue. So with that race, there ended up being 8 cautions, with pretty standard for a New Hampshire race. Usually there ends up being a few incidents, mix of green flag runs, that kind of thing. There's only 3 cars that ended up DNFing because the 88 and the 7 weren't able to get back out there. With the 7 car, his front end looked like one of those old days where they used to repair the cars up there. That was kind of a nice little throwback. And the race, for being only 300 miles, ended up still being a little over 3 hours. And with the laps led today, it ended up being the 12 car leading 116, his teammate leading 147, and everybody else only led 38. So it wasn't even close. Those Penske cars were fast. And if you notice, Blaney didn't do a burnout at the end of the race. I'm pretty sure that car is going to be for Martinsville or Phoenix. They did not want anything destroyed on that car. They want that car ready to go because that thing was a rocket ship. And now with the playoff standings, Blaney walked in the round of 8. Not surprising. Been one of the best drivers in the next gen era. Byron's at plus 47. Great day for Byron. Just third. Quiet all day. Didn't hear much from him. Hardly led, but great day for considering Hendrick cars hadn't been doing too good on the flat tracks before this. Kyle Larson, plus 41. Good day for Larson. Heading to one of his best next gen tracks next week. More the last time he was actually considered Larson. And then Bell with plus 29. I mean, fine day for Bell. Had his issues with the damage. I mean, plus 29, that should be good. So Joe Gibbs cars are usually pretty good at Kansas. Then in 5th in the standings, Dan Hamlin plus 27. He gained 1 whole point today. All the drama. How will his teammate Ty Gibbs race him going forward? Because the Gibbs is going to cause problems. That just is going to hurt the whole organization. In 6th, Joey Logano at plus 24. Dude, Logano gained so many points today. He had an amazing day for him and his team. Elliott at plus 14. Great day for Elliott considering they were starting 27th. They were struggling early on. That's really awesome for that team and for his fans. And then Briscoe, plus 12. Gained a couple points on the cut line, but he's right there. So is somehow the 1, 2, 45, or 23 win next week, Briscoe could be in trouble dropping below the line. But he's got overstate's advantage right now, so he's got at least a little bit of comfort with the 2 races to go. And then the 1 car minus 12 back, 12 positions. I mean, for Ross, it's not a bad day, but the Trackhouse cars just haven't shown speed all year long, so it's going to be tough for him to try and jump ahead of these guys. But although the last time he ran well was 1.5 miles, and we are heading to another 1.5 miles. So, and then Austin Cindric 19 back. I mean, I don't have a lot of hope with Cindric right now. It just seems like with how dominant his 3 teammates were today and him just barely being in the top 15, 20 all day, it's just that team, I don't know what they need to do because he's always just been the 3rd, 4th Penske car. And the 21 counts as a Penske car technically. So, man, they got to figure it out if they want to try and move on. The Roval may end up being his best opportunity, but he struggled in next-gen car road course racing. Then the 2 23-11 teammates, they're in trouble. 23 back and 27 back, they're going to have great runs at Kansas, but the last few races at Kansas have gone to Chevrolets. It was a 23-11 track early on, but everybody else has seemed to figure it out now. So they need to figure this out sooner than later, because if they don't figure it out by next week, the bottom 4 could end up getting the gap could get spread more, and then come the Roval, they're going to have to worry about that 88 car possibly dominating along with the 5, that was really good there last year, because these guys, they want to possibly move on. They're probably going to get into position to win, and unfortunately for those 4, none of them really showed race-winning speed all year, except maybe Reddick at Darlington, and then obviously Ross when he ran well with the Coke 600. So next week will be Kansas. I will not be able to do a race review because I will actually be in Kansas City. I'm going to the Kansas City Chiefs game on Sunday, but I am going to be going to the Xfinity race on Saturday. I have VIP passes for that, so that should be a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to Kansas next week. It would be kind of sucky that I don't get to watch the race live, but I'll watch it in between the plays during the Chiefs game. For record, I'm from Minnesota. I'm a Vikings fan, but my dad likes going to the Chiefs games, so I'm going down with him. So I'm not a Chiefs fan. I'm not really that big of a Chiefs fan, but I will admit the stadium is awesome. The atmosphere was really cool. And I'm looking forward to it again where it's actually going to be warm this year, especially since they're playing one of the best players in the league. It's just kind of like how they're going to one of the best tracks in all of NASCAR with Kansas. Kansas usually always has one banger of the race, and this race, the spring race, was okay. So maybe the fall race this time around will end up being a banger. So we'll have to see how that goes. And quick note, if you watched my preview yesterday, I picked 12 car to win. I listened to what people said in the garage and what they're reporting on, and that 12 car won. So congrats to Ryan Blaney. Moving on to the round of 8. Everybody, Ross Chastain, Austin Cindric, Tyler Reddick, and Bubba Wallace are going to have to figure out some way to get some speed the next couple weeks, or else they're going to be eliminated because the top 8 have a lot of speed right now. So enjoy Kansas, guys.